said it would be our best way to deal with the tons of garbage we throw away. Turn the waste into energy, like this plant in New England. But a high-tech trash burner never got built in Austin, and now it appears taxpayers will lose some hard-earned dollars along the way. Good afternoon. Even though voters approved the trash burner 4 years ago, the Austin City Council scrapped the plan.
Now, our City Hall reporter Andy Sines says another city wants to buy what was once ours and at a considerable loss. Andy?
Well, Dick, if you remember, one of the main reasons the waste energy project was canceled was because of the cost. The estimated price tag for the trash burner was about $80 million. But opponents argued that there would be cost overruns and that operating the plant would be more expensive than originally predicted. Those concerns, coupled with the environmental concerns, killed the project. After months of emotional debate on the issue, the council voted 5-2 to scrap the waste-to-energy plant.
And even if the plant put out rose petals instead of poison as emissions, we couldn't do it. Right now, we can't afford it.
The immediate concern for council members was how to recoup the millions of dollars already invested in the project. Austin City Hall had spent money on engineering designs and some of the equipment, mainly the boilers for the project. The total cost as of last year, $16 million. But now a plan has surfaced that would sell those designs and boilers for about $8 million to the Nashville Thermal Corporation, which is an entity of the city of Nashville. Even though City Hall would recoup about 50%, it would also still lose about $8 million. Isn't that a lot to lose?
I'm a ratepayer too, and I think I'm probably as conservative and cautious about spending the ratepayers' money as anybody on the council. What I looked at was the long-term implication of the cost to operate this plant versus the short-term loss, and I would rather lose $3 or $4 million than have a project that would go over budget $25, $30, $35 million, and the operating costs come in much higher than we anticipated.
So if everything goes as planned, the project will officially end when the equipment gets sold to Nashville. Dick?
Andy, I think it's important to point out this is not a done deal.
Very much so. Mayor Lee Cook stressed to me that tomorrow the Metro Nashville Council will look at the issue. They'll take a vote. They need to take 2 more votes, so this thing could get finalized by October. Then Austin would be out of the waste-to-energy business.
All right. Thank you very much, Andy.
A different sort of recycling story out of Hayes County this afternoon. Just about everyone agrees recycling trash is a good idea, but not everyone there agrees on how to make it happen, as we learned from our Keith Elkins.
In San Marcos, one man's trash is gradually becoming Mac McKeithen's treasure, putting more money in the bank while also helping attract new customers to his drive-through beer store.
Kind of a revolving door, and hardly empty if you sell the full one.
In fact, business has become so successful here at Mac's Beer Hall, Mac is considering a possible business expansion by turning this vacant lot into a drop-off point for glass and paper products as well.
As long as it's profitable, a business person will get into it.
Maybe that's true at the commercial level, but most people seem to find recycling more trouble than it's worth. Old habits are hard to break, and it seems it's the American way to simply bundle everything up together and leave it for the garbage man to deal with. But that's a costly and wasteful practice that's generating a mountain of trash. It is estimated more than 800 tons of household garbage is collected each month, and that's in Hayes County alone.
We want the county and city to make it as convenient to recycle our waste as it is to throw it into the river, ditch, or landfill.
This local citizens group is appealing to their elected officials to create a comprehensive recycling program for Hayes County, a $300,000 concept providing curbside home pickup service and drop-off centers like McKeithen's. It's an idea he says isn't needed.
Well, I hate to have to compete with the government. I'd rather them just let private enterprise take over.
Keith Elkins, KVUE 24 Action News, San Marcos.
Why would a woman beat her 11-year-old daughter in the head with a heavy rock? That question may never be answered, but a Williamson County woman is going to prison for the crime. 42-year-old Barbara Shaw went to the Williamson County Courthouse this afternoon to plead guilty to a charge of injury to a child with a deadly weapon. The charge was filed after a bizarre incident 5 months ago in Liberty Hill. Early on the morning of March 14th, Shaw told neighbors she had killed her daughter, but the child survived her injuries. Shaw told investigators she believed her husband was exerting some evil influence over her and her daughter. The only way they could be free of the influence was for her to kill her daughter and herself.
Dick, when people hear about this case, the reactions are very extreme on either side. Some people say, she must have been crazy. She must not have known what she was doing. Other people say, I can't imagine a mother injuring her child in a way like this. She deserves the worst punishment that you can imagine. So it's hard to know what a jury would have done with a case like this.
Shaw could have been sentenced to life in prison, but because she pleaded guilty, she was sentenced to 25 years. She could be eligible for parole in just over 6 years.
Should Capital Metro bus drivers be forced to take drug tests? The bus drivers union has some very strong feelings about the question. They say drug tests invade people's privacy.
It's a matter that's being decided this afternoon as the Capital Metro Board meets, and that's where our Alan Berg is. Alan, the union has made it very clear, no drug testing.
Yes, they have, Dick, and right now the board is about 2 agenda items away from apparently adopting a policy. They say they don't really have any choice, that Department of Transportation regulations mandate a random drug testing policy if they want to keep their federal funding. Nevertheless, many employees are fuming.
From bus mechanics to bus drivers, the proposed testing policy would force Capital Metro employees in sensitive safety positions to submit to random drug tests. It's not a popular move.
I don't think that anybody has the right to come up to me and demand to draw blood from me just because, you know, it's a new law.
I have to keep my job. I got to take the test.
It would, of course, also cover drivers. In all, about 2/3, or roughly 400 of the 685 Capital Metro employees would be affected by the policy. If adopted tonight, the random drug test will begin in late December.
Now, of course, it is a controversial policy, and the national union that represents the local transit workers has filed suit in Washington, D.C., but the wheels of the legal system turn slowly, and in the meantime, this board of directors is likely to adopt the random drug testing policy to keep those millions of dollars of federal funds coming into Austin. Dick, Judy?
Capital Metro does get a lot of money from the federal government still, and that is who's ordering the test. Is that right, Alan?
Yes, yes, it is. They receive about $4 million a year, and if they don't adopt the test as a penalty from the federal government, they could stand to lose as much as $30 million in past and present funding.
Thank you, Alan.
Coming up next, what was all that hubbub at Austin's ailing Treaty Oak today? That and more when KVUE 24 Action News continues.
Late this afternoon in the efforts to recover the bodies from the crash of Texas Congressman Nikki Leland's plane, the State Department says it will take at least 2 days for crews to remove the victims, and that's if the weather is good. The plane in which Leland and 15 others were flying crashed into a mountain with a 70% incline. Leland is from Houston. He had been visiting refugee camps. The Ethiopians have allowed the National Transportation Safety Board in Washington to conduct an investigation at the crash site to determine just what caused it. 2 memorial services for Congressman Leland are set for Austin, one tonight and one tomorrow. He was very well known in Austin during his years in our state legislature. Tonight's service will be at 7 at the New Lincoln Missionary Baptist Church. That's at 2215 East 8th Street. A memorial mass will be said tomorrow evening at 7 at Holy Cross Catholic Church. The address is there, 1600 East 11th Street.
A grand jury indictment is expected this week against Paul Stedman Cullen, the man who police say poisoned one of Austin's most distinctive landmarks. The Treaty Oak is barely alive after someone poured a deadly herbicide around its base. Today, with the outlook growing darker for Treaty Oak survival, a group of psychics visited the tree. Craig Marks with more.
Okay, ladies, let's kind of start positioning ourselves, okay, because she's going to take more than one transfer.
Sharon Capehart says she's been a psychic since the age of 9.
Oh, I just get the energy from a higher power, from an energy source more powerful than myself.
With that power, she and her students from Dallas will try to replace what they call the negative in Treaty Oak with the positive.
Okay.
With hands held high and her neck draped with crystal, the psychic supposedly removes negative energy.
Let in God's light. Exhale the negativity. Okay, let's start coming down her.
But they soon realize this tree's poison plenty.
Branch out.
Capehart trembles as it transfers its troubles.
Come back together and let's go down her trunk. This is when it gets tough.
Psychic Capehart says she believes the energy transfer is working because you can smell a gas in the air. It's the poison exiting from the leaves. But the people who work with the tree every day say they smell something too. It's actually paint from the body shop across the way.
And when the wind blows this way, it gets very, very strong.
City Forester John Gadritis wouldn't say what he thought of the psychic's unorthodox approach, but sees no harm in her trying.
It's kind of like a get well card, but from a different time zone or zone. We're not quite sure.
Neither were Treaty Oaks visitors.
I think she's nuts. Phenomenal.
Ridiculous, yes.
I think they should just leave it alone.
Capehart called it quits after what she termed 2 massive energy transfers. Exhausted, she and her Psychic 6 eased their way into their limo. Now the tree will live, she says, no doubt about it. The experts aren't so sure. Craig Marks, KVUE-24 Action News.
Meanwhile, suspect Paul Cullen remains in jail after police brought him there 6 weeks ago. He was charged with criminal mischief, but still there's not been any grand jury indictment. Police say they expect the indictment to be handed down this week, and a spokesman in the district attorney's office says he feels they have a strong case against the suspect. Investigators say the poisoning was carried out as part of a ritual.
If you're beginning to think Austin is immune from rain, you could be right. Again today, those clouds threatened, but the rain went away before it could do much good. We'll get to the bottom of all this when Troy joins us in just a moment.
Troy Kimmel's weathercast carries the seal of approval from the American Meteorological Society. Troy Kimmel, part of your 24 storm team.
Seems like the rain hit every place but here today. Every direction from Austin. It was northwest, northeast, and southwest in every direction. Still some light rain around, but by far the aerial coverage has decreased across the area now, so that the probability of you getting rain where you are tonight is actually very slim. We'll talk about it and show you the radar in just a second. Right now, over the capital city, there indeed could be a light shower where you are now. We're seeing some light echoes around parts of the Austin area, but really, all in all, the aerial coverage is down a great deal since earlier today. At 6 o'clock at the National Weather Service office at Robert Miller Airport, the temperature under a mostly cloudy sky was 89 degrees, the humidity at 47%. There are those east winds at about 9 miles an hour, and the pressure right now is falling, 29.92 inches of mercury. High temperature this afternoon, a warm one out there, but the clouds still tended to hold the temperature down somewhat at 94 degrees. Morning low was 70. We need it, but we haven't gotten it yet. No rainfall being picked up officially, even 1 or 2 drops of light rain, especially over the northern and western parts of the city today. Buchanan is down at this hour. Travis is down as well, according to the LCRA. And your latest sunset and sunrise times. This evening, the sun will go down at about 8:14, and sunrise tomorrow morning at 6:57. Let's talk about the tropics for a second. Here's the wide view on the infrared satellite view. One thing that we're watching right now is an area of disturbed weather right here. Generally around the Bahamas and east of there, just a little bit off the eastern coast of the United States. That area is fairly well organized, but any future development, according to the National Hurricane Center, will be slow to occur. The Gulf of Mexico fairly quiet this afternoon, as is most of the Caribbean Sea. Some thunderstorms here in the extreme southern Caribbean. One thing we will watch, however, is a little tropical wave right out here off the west coast of Africa that is well organized, moving on to the west, but it's a few days out there, so we don't worry too much about that at this hour. As far as the national weather is concerned, this is a visual satellite picture. Thunderstorms over parts of the southeast this afternoon, portions of the Midwest and upper Mississippi Valley, and portions of the western United States. A little closer to home, that upper air disturbance still riding northwest to southeast across the Lone Star State, giving the folks over North Texas some showers. But by the time they reach Central Texas, they seem to go every direction around the Austin area. We can see that even better, I think, on the visual satellite picture this afternoon. Notice the clouds. South to the southwest and west, and also to the northeast of the capital city. Again, that upper air disturbance losing some of its punch this afternoon. And again, most of the heavier showers have been to the east and northeast of the capital city. Still, temperatures a little below normal for this time of year. 24 color weather radar will indicate those showers around parts of the Austin area. But by far, those showers have become a lot less numerous over the last couple of hours. Now, my forecast overnight tonight, sorry about this, but I'm going to keep the chance of rain at 20% or less. Partly cloudy overnight, look for a low of 71 and variable winds. Tomorrow, partly cloudy. Not going to do much better than about a 20% chance of a shower where you are. We're going for a high temperature of 91. Tomorrow night, look for a low temperature of 71, 20% chance once again. Same for Wednesday in the extended forecast, partly cloudy. Thursday and Friday, about 20% is the best we can do at this stage. We need the rainfall around, but just going to be real hard to get it. That upper air disturbance, which looked so promising over the weekend, fell apart again.
At least the temperatures are cooler than they usually are in August.
Right.
We can be thankful for that.
That's right.
Well, the Southwest Conference football season is about to begin, and Hugh Lewis is live at Memorial Stadium to talk about it. He'll be with us in just a moment.
Now they have the whole team down at Memorial Stadium.
UT football season is right around the corner, and Hugh Lewis joins us now from Memorial Stadium. Hugh?
It's always fun to come to practice, and it's surprising to see the upperclassmen happy to be at practice. This is the first day that the veterans joined the freshmen at the UT football practice. The Horns looking to improve on their 4-7 record from last year, and head coach David McWilliams hopes that his third year as the Horns head man will be the charm. Now, when you think about Texas football, you have to think about the Southwest Conference football schedule, and that's what we're gearing up for, Southwest Conference football. And for the next 9 days on our 6 o'clock shows, we will preview the Southwest Conference schools, and we'll start that. We'll do it in reverse order. We'll do it from Danny Ellis, and we'll show you which teams are best and which ones are not. That's why tonight we begin our series with SMU.
I received $25,000 to attend SMU.
We made that judgment, and in the meantime, the rules were changed and the death penalty imposed.
The death penalty. It wiped out SMU football for 2 years. Now, it's time to start anew. Everything is new here at SMU. New home field, new program, new start, and a new challenge for new head coach Forrest Gregg.
Coming back to SMU and accepting this challenge probably compares with the challenge that I had ever getting to SMU to begin with.
Forrest Gregg came to SMU in the 50s from the tiny East Texas town of Sulphur Springs. In high school, Gregg played in the first football game he ever saw. And now most of his young Mustangs will have to play in the first college game they will have ever seen from the sidelines.
We have nothing to lose. You know, we're starting from new. No one expects anything out of us, and we don't have the pressure on us to win.
SMU football will return this season as a shadow of its old self. Mustang Mania has been replaced by a program of pared-down ponies. Texas Stadium has been traded in for small Ownby Stadium, capacity just 24,000. The Mustangs will play their home games on campus for the first time in 41 years. The players will be mostly freshmen, all unknown, but one Mustang will have the best name in the conference.
My full name is Uzo Oma Emeka Okeke. It means God made a good way. It's a Nigerian name.
Can the Mustangs make a name for themselves? They already have by proving there is life after the death penalty. Danny Osner, KVUE 24 Action Sports, Dallas.
Now, Payne Stewart went to SMU, and I'm sure a lot of Mustangs are happy with the way he performed yesterday at the PGA Championship. Stewart overcame Mike Reed, who folded down the stretch.
Well, when I birdied 18 to get to 12 under, I felt like you never know what's liable to happen. It is a major. It is the last 9 holes, and funny things do happen coming in, and then Mike makes that double bogey on 17 and opened the door for me. I really anticipated him making that putt on 18 I thought we were going to play extra holes. I don't wish misfortune on anybody, but I've had a lot of misfortune come my way in the game of golf, and I thought it was time that I received a little justice out of it.
Well, the Houston Oilers hope that some of their rookies will be able to help them this year. Bubba McDowell is one of those players. He was baptized in Saturday's preseason game against Tampa Bay. Terry Thomas has his story.
Bubba McDowell was a defensive standout who played cornerback and safety for the Miami Hurricanes. He was drafted by the Oilers in the 3rd round and made some big plays in the Oilers' first preseason game.
Bubba McDowell was the all-time leading punt blocker at the University of Miami. So what did he do in his first NFL game? He blocked a punt.
First punt they had, I kind of came free. It was a return left. Then I came back on the sideline. I told our coach that. Then next time they punted, he called it to my side, and the guy, barely hit me, so I was able to get free and get a good jump off the ball.
That blocked punt rolled through the end zone, giving the Oilers a safety and a 2-point lead. And that's not all McDowell did. This tackle on the Bucs tight end William Harris caused a fumble, which the Oilers recovered.
I think I went out and I performed. I had a few mistakes, but overall performance, I think I did real well.
McDowell made some mental errors during his NFL debut, but was definitely a standout among the Oilers rookies. Terry Thomas, KVUE 24 Action Sports, San Marcos.
By the way, Monday Night Football starts tonight. The Chicago Bears against the Miami Dolphins in an exhibition game, and you can watch it live at 7 right here on 24.
Ought to be a good game. Thank you very much, Hugh.
We'll be right back. There are plenty of obvious worries about what's in the food we eat, like insects.
Karen Sunlighter tells us about a University of Texas researcher who's made a big breakthrough in the area of bugs.
At harvest time, it is not unusual for farmers to pick up more than the grains that were intentionally grown.
Well, indeed, bugs are important in our foodstuffs, and for the most part, we certainly don't want them there.
And that's where Dr. Barry Kiddo comes in. This chemistry professor at the University of Texas developed a way to biochemically detect the presence of insects in grains. It starts with a blender. In this case, grains of wheat are liquefied. It will be added to a test solution Kiddo is in the process of patenting, containing antibodies, enzymes, and a coloring agent. Simplified, if the sample turns purple, you've got insects in your food supply. That's critical information for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which pushed for this research.
If the infestation is minor and the grain is going to be shipped somewhere, then the grain can be fumigated to kill the insects and to stop any further infestation.
This process streamlines what was an expensive and time-consuming alternative to test grains and flours, checking by hand under a microscope.
The research going on in Dr. Kiddo's lab isn't going to stay put here on the University of Texas campus. The Board of Regents has approved a licensing agreement to commercialize that technology, and that's going to mean royalties paid back to the UT system. Karen Sunlighter, KVUE 24 Action News.
And that's KVUE 24 Action News at 6 for this Monday.
We'll see you at 10.